So, you might have seen this video from Maharashtra that's been making the rounds. It's graphic, it's confusing, and honestly, it went viral for all the worst reasons. But that video, that was just the tip of a truly terrifying iceberg. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the story of a so-called God man who built an entire empire on the secrets of the most powerful people in the country. And this, right here, is what makes this case so unbelievably shocking. The women he targeted weren't strangers to power, they were at the very heart of it. We're talking about educated, well-connected women who moved in the absolute highest circles of society. And that's the real question, isn't it? How did one guy manage to prey on the most influential families in the region for so long, right under everybody's noses? Well, the answer doesn't actually start with that viral video. It starts with a single, terrifying message. All right, so let's start where the public first caught on to this whole mess, with that video. A video that seemed to show one thing, but was hiding a much, much darker reality. Okay, so what you see in the video is an office setting. There's a man and there's a woman. And if you were just scrolling past, you might think it looked consensual. But the horrifying truth is, the woman in that video, and dozens of others just like her, wasn't in her right mind. She was a victim. To really get how this all came crashing down, we have to rewind, back before the video went viral. The very first crack in this criminal empire appeared in December of 2025, and it started with a single WhatsApp message sent to a businessman's wife. So first, a compromising photo of her just appears on her phone. She has no memory of it being taken, so, she naturally thinks it's a deep fake, something made with AI, and she tries to just brush it off. But then, just a few days later, she's leaving a crowded temple and a man walks right up to her, shoves a phone in her face, playing a video, and demands a huge amount of money. He threatens to send it to her husband. And in that moment, she knows it's real. Terrified, but showing incredible courage, she walks straight into a police station and files a complaint. This is where the investigation officially kicks off. And right from the get-go, things get complicated. The police find themselves staring at two completely different stories, and it's almost impossible to tell who's the victim and who's the villain. The police, they move fast. They trace that WhatsApp number, and it leads them to an office in Nashik and to a guy named Nalish Jadhav. But when they find out who owns that office, well, that's when we meet our main character for the very first time. A self-proclaimed God man, an astrologer, a numerologist named Ashok Kharat. Now get this, because what the police were up against was a masterclass in deception. On one hand, they search Jadhav's phone, and sure enough, it's filled with dozens of these videos of different women, but the man's face is always conveniently hidden. But then, Ashok Kharat flips the entire script. He files his own police complaint, claiming that he's the one being blackmailed with fake videos and that these criminals are demanding 5 crore rupees from him. And for a little while, the police actually think he might be another victim. So for months, the case just stalls. The police are chasing their tails, following Kharat's false leads, while the real mastermind is playing the part of the victim. But then, on March 17, 2026, everything changes. A new woman comes forward. And she isn't just anybody. She's the wife of a very, very senior official. And the story she tells the police doesn't just crack the case, it blows it wide open and exposes Ashok Kharat for the monster he truly is.
She explains that she went to see Kharat for some guidance. He gave her prasad, which is a religious food offering, and something he called ashnojal, basically holy water, promising it would bring good fortune. She drank it, and the next thing she remembers is waking up completely disoriented, her clothes a mess, and that's when Kharat showed her his phone. And on that screen was a video of him assaulting her while she was passed out. And with her testimony, Kharat's entire disgusting playbook is laid bare. You see, this was a system, a cold, calculated operation. First, he'd gain their trust, maybe with a few surprisingly accurate predictions. Then, he'd convince these powerful women to come to his office alone. Step 3, he'd serve them the prasad and water, which we now know was laced with sedatives. While they were unconscious, he would assault them and record the entire thing on a hidden camera. And then, finally, the blackmail would begin. But this wasn't just about money. And it wasn't just about the assault. This was about power. And to really understand how he got away with it for so long, you have to look at who his clients were. It's a fair question, right? How does a man with no official title, no real standing, get this much influence? The answer, it turns out, is in his very carefully curated list of VIP devotees. I mean, just look at this list. We are talking about the highest echelons of government and society. Politicians, top-level bureaucrats, senior police officers, powerful businessmen, they all went to him for advice. When people this powerful are seen visiting you, it creates this aura of being completely untouchable. And he played the long game. He spent 22 years in the Merchant Navy, traveled to 150 countries, learned over a dozen languages. Basically, he spent 2 decades studying people. He came back and used that knowledge to build his persona. But the real game changer was in November 2022, when Maharashtra's deputy chief minister paid him a visit. That one event gave him all the legitimacy he needed. Soon after, the entire elite class followed, bringing their wives and their families right through his door. So, with that second victim's brave testimony, the police finally had everything they needed. But arresting a man with friends in such high places, that wasn't going to be easy. They had to be smart about it.
The very same night that complaint was filed, the police planned the arrest. They knew they couldn't just roll up with sirens blazing or his followers would be alerted. So they surrounded his farmhouse and started shouting, "Thief! Thief!" creating a huge distraction. His staff opened the doors, and the police rushed in saying they were looking for a burglar. While everyone was running around looking for this imaginary thief, a small team went straight to Kharat's bedroom and arrested him while he was still in bed. Once he was in custody, the police seized everything: his phones, his laptops, his hard drives. And on them, they found over 58 explicit videos of different women, confirming the massive scale of his crimes. And remember, that's just what they've found so far. This all brings us to the core of his entire evil enterprise, what people are calling the business of fear. It's a simple and unbelievably cruel formula. He would invent some terrifying prediction: your husband's life is in danger, and then he would position himself as the only person in the world with the solution. That solution often meant paying for expensive rituals, but for far too many women, it also involved his ultimate price: their submission. The police have recovered 58 videos, which is horrifying enough. But Ashok Kharat was building his reputation, his business, for nearly 40 years. And this leaves us with one final chilling question. How many other women are out there? How many more victims have been silenced by fear and shame over all those decades, their stories still locked away in the dark?